In this video, I am going to talk about how I would use a jam track or a loop that I just uploaded earlier today for playing the pentatonic patterns in the key of F minor. So you don't have to know a lot about this to start practicing, but the more that you are able to learn, the more clarity you'll get in what you're up to. So you can hear the jam track in the background. The chords are in F minor, E flat major, D flat major, and E flat major again, and that just keeps looping over and over. It's really simple. There's a simple bass line and a simple harmony track that just kind of enriches the chords, so it's not just a guitar strumming. So then what I would do is I would play my patterns up against this to see how each note in each pattern relates to the music that I'm listening to. And we want to start to get a feel for playing scales in this context, because it is a good step between doing scales just as a straight up exercise for memorization and speed and technique and such. That's all wonderful, but then in the end we need to put this in a musical context. Well, we should, in the end, put this in a musical context, because that's kind of the point of practicing this stuff. So it's kind of cool to be able to practice your scales along with a jam track of sorts, and you don't have to use mine. I'm only using this because I set it up for how I like to teach these patterns. So anything you can find on YouTube, or you can buy CDs or MP3s of jam tracks. They're very worth playing to, as long as they're simple, so that you can focus on what you're doing instead of the jam track being fancy. So what we can listen to then is how the notes in the scale that we are playing, how they interact with each chord in a jam track. So if you look on my channel, there's a lot of jam tracks that I've put together of differing qualities. Basically, they're all done on my iPhone, but I try to put up with the jam track where I would place my pentatonic patterns. And I like to always start with the pentatonic patterns because they're very simple and very usable, and they go across most styles of music. So you can play these patterns in pretty much anything. I like to use this style that you're hearing in the background just because it's kind of stretched out and you can hear how things work together. So when I'm using pattern, what I'm calling pentatonic pattern 1, also you can see my dog in the background. His name is Hudson, and he's my best buddy. So what I'm calling pentatonic pattern 1 is the minor pentatonic. The reason I use pentatonic pattern 1 as being the minor pentatonic as being pattern 1 is because it lines up across the guitar neck incredibly well. Even on an acoustic guitar, you can go through all of the patterns in a very easy way. So we have pattern 1 here, 1 being minor, Aeolian, pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, and pattern 5. So even on this acoustic guitar, I can play all of the patterns. I don't need a big cutaway to do this in this key. It works really, really nice, and it just gives it an overall nice feel on the guitar neck. So I'm going to show you, here's what I would do. I would start out just by going pattern 1, just as simple as can be. So I'm just listening to that, and I'm hearing it up against the music, and the music is kind of like a metronome, but it also has progressions built into it, so it's nice. Once that becomes easy, and I feel comfortable, I might kind of mix it up a little bit, and I might go, like I would start right here and just hang out on this note. Add another note. Notice I'm adding notes every once in a while. that becomes easy and I feel comfortable doing it, I'll move to the second pattern, which starts where the first pattern leaves off. Second pattern. You can hear that doesn't resolve, so I might go. Then the third pattern. Improvise on this until you're comfortable. Then pattern 4, so here's pattern 3. Pattern 4 is going to start where 3 leaves off. Once that becomes comfortable, I'm going to go to number 5. So here's where 4 leaves off, here's where 5 starts. I'm going to do that one again. Okay. You very much, hopefully, were able to hear that I made a mistake there. What is another benefit of playing to tracks like this is it's very apparent if you hit a sour note or if you hit a note that doesn't, I shouldn't say doesn't belong, because sometimes we want that tension, but you'll be able to feel tension in notes that are outside of the scale in a very new and kind of a cool way. Okay, so I'm going to start that again. Pattern 5. If you're brave and you want to try it, where pattern 5 ends is where pattern 1 starts up again. This is obviously easier on an electric, but you can do it on an acoustic. Another thing that's kind of fun is to try to play just the top string, which is the first 2 notes for every pattern. So this gives you kind of an overview, and I know I've done videos like this in the past, and I think it's valuable to watch these as they evolve. Usually my videos, or even what I teach, is based off of questions that come up during lessons, and I think that as we do this stuff, more clarity happens. And for me personally, I love getting questions, and I love hearing different ideas of how to express this stuff, because it gives you a deeper and a deeper look at what we are up to. So I'll try to continue this, doing these videos and talking a little bit. I generally just like to talk to people, but this seems to be a good avenue for getting information out as well. So I hope that it is helpful to you. If you have questions or comments about this, you can address them in the comments, or you can just message me. I would assume that if you're watching this video, you either have done lessons with me or are thinking about it, and if that is the case, then you know how to get a hold of me. If you have basic questions. That also helps me so that on my videos in the future I can address things in a way that is clearer from that particular perspective that a student might have a question from. So it's good to ask questions. It's good for me to learn by your questions. And again, I hope this is beneficial for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Look up the video that I posted just before this, and it will be a video of just the jam track without me jabbering on and on. Alright, I hope you are well. I hope that your week is good and that you are enjoying the time that you have.